Well, hello, this is Daniel from the TradeGame channel. It's January 5th. It's very, very early in the morning here. And I am not feeling super well. You may be able to hear it in my voice. So I'm just going to try to run through where we're at with our grid trading right now. And just do that very quickly and we'll move on. Okay. So Bitcoin has had a bit of a pump the last couple of days. Yesterday was a Doge candle. So it would not surprise me if we had a little bit of a correction to the downside now in Bitcoin. And so let's take a look at our grid bots that we have going. All right. So, as a reminder to everybody, when price action is inside of the green zone, the way I have these set up, that means that our bot is trading. And when the price action is below this line in the red zone, it means that the bot is not trading because it's gotten below its grid. And usually with bots, this means that it's at risk of being liquidated. So if the price action on the bot goes all the way down and hits below this red area, then the bot will lose all of the money that it is currently holding. So that's what we want to avoid. I want to avoid losing my investment in these bots is what we're looking at. So this is an ApeCoin bot that we've been talking about a little bit on the channel that I've had running for a little while. That is doing rather well. Pretty happy about it. It had a good period there, got out of its grid on the top, but then came back down. And its liquidation value is now negative. So this guy has, it would be rather difficult for this one to actually hit liquidation. It should do just fine for us, even if the price of ApeCoin goes sort of underperforms over the next however long we want the bot to keep going. It doesn't really matter because we can just keep this position and hold it for as long as we want to. And in fact, if the price of this coin ranges in this area that I have set up, 0.86 to 1.45 dollars, US dollars, USDT, then this bot will continue to generate revenue. So that's great. ApeCoin, it does trend more or less like Bitcoin, and so to me, I'm not really diving very deep into the coin, but it looks to me like it's got a trend going to the upside here, and it's likely going to it's sort of in the middle of a correction to the downside. And that's cool. That's great. That's wonderful. Works. That's what we want to see. We want to see this ranging inside the green area. It's only when it gets outside of the green area that the bot stops trading. But even if it goes above the grid, that's still fine because if the bot is above the grid, then that just means that the bot becomes a regular long position. We've purchased at a lower price, and then we're just holding and waiting and deciding when to sell at a higher price. So it's not that big a deal, but what we would like to see is really for this to stay in the green zone as much as possible. But we'll just have to see how that happens. or if it happens. All right, so ApeCoin. Look at this guy. Oh, the next one we're going to look at was Solana. This one is a 5 times leveraged bot. The ceiling at $300. It's kind of doing the same thing as the last one. It has had a breakout recently. It was trading in a wedge formation. It is broken out. Should correct down a little bit here, but hopefully, and depending on what the rest of the market does, we don't really know what the market's going to do. It may continue upwards, or it may continue sideways, or it may go down. Hopefully, though, my hope is that it will go either sideways or will go up in price. Either way will be positive for us. But it is trading again within its grid, which is nice, and I've updated the liquidation price. It went down just a little bit at the bottom here. So that's good stuff. This one is in a little bit of loss, but currently overall, but that's fine because it is actively trading now, which is what we want to see it doing. Okay, next up we've got Dogecoin. So Dogecoin, I expect to perform very, very well over the next year, at least, probably longer than that, though, realistically. Although it is subject to the same market, overall market sentiment, just like everything else. But we've got, or I have my 2 bots set to trade this on the grid up to $1. And I had these set up a little differently with kind of grid extending a bit further down, fortunately, which was a good thing for these. But also, Bitcoin just performed pretty well in the last dip in the market. It showed some strength. Here. Had a nice clean wick down, and then came back up and did just fine. So we've got a 5 times leverage bot here, which is the one that has this liquidation price down at 1.87. And that one is chugging along, doing just fine. And then we've got a smaller bot that's higher leveraged. Doesn't have a whole lot of money in it, but it is a higher leverage bot, so it's going to make a higher percentage return. It's about 270% profit right now. That has a liquidation value, which is still inside the grid for this bot. So what I've done is I just set a red line here at the liquidation for the high leverage bot. So if the price gets down, suddenly crashes in Dogecoin and goes straight down to about 27 cents, then I will have lost the money in that bot, which hopefully it won't do. But as the price continues to range above this level, the bot should build up more money, and I should be able to lower this red line over time until eventually the liquidation value hopefully will get below the range that the bot is trading in, the grid that the bot is trading in, and then I can just use a regular red area like this. So yeah, that's what's happening with Dogecoin. Dogecoin has got very nice, very clean pattern here. I would expect it to retrace, to correct downwards over the next day. Just looking at the price action, not really doing any particularly in-depth anything. Well, okay. No. Yeah, it might be due to continue upwards for a little bit, actually. So, I mean, when I say that I expect it to correct downwards, I mean like it'll probably eh, go down a little bit, or maybe do a little red candle, one or two little red candles. It's not going to go all the way down like that, most likely. It's probably gonna keep going up for a little bit, but we're gonna have a little break in the action, I think, here. At least that seems to be what's happening. Like, for example, we're going into the weekend here in the States, and a lot of times, price action just kind of doesn't do a tremendous amount of movement over the weekend. So there may be a bit of a break in the buying pressure, and selling pressure, and there might just sort of be some chop over the weekend in Dogecoin. Maybe, but I've not looked tremendously into it, tremendously far into it. But, yeah, yeah. See, this is not looking at the oscillator. It does not look like a whole bunch is happening right now with the price action, relative to yesterday on Dogecoin, because things have kind of quieted down for the weekend, it would seem, at least a little bit. Of course, that can always change. Something can happen in the news. Somebody, it can always change, but often weekends are relatively quiet, comparatively quiet, as a lot of day traders and a lot of institutional people in finance don't work weekends. Right. Okay, so Doge. Oh, then XRP. What were we doing with XRP? Oh, yes. Okay, so right now with XRP, we had set a new grid range because we had two bots on XRP, and I've set it up so that we're going to be remaking the older bot into a new one with the same price grid going up to $6 this time for these, and going down to about $1.85. And it'll be slightly higher leverage. I think it's about 8 times leverage now that I've remade this with, and we'll have to see where the liquidation value comes out with that just a little bit of increase in the leverage on the bot. But it hasn't started yet. I've set a trigger price on it, hoping that XRP NIS will kind of range a little bit over the weekend. It looks like it's been on the daily chart trading in a wedge pattern, and tried to break out of the wedge pattern on the upside here, but it looks like it has not been able to, and so it's correcting downwards, is what it looks like to me. Whether or not it will get down and hit our trigger price is kind of another question for us. I certainly hope it does, and it may be worthwhile, or after thinking about it a bit and looking at it more closely on my own time, I may perhaps change this trigger price to something a bit higher, just to make sure the bot actually does activate. Don't need to just sit here forever waiting to activate the bot just because the price action doesn't go where we want it to. But the idea is to try and reasonably catch it at not at the peak of one of these pumps exactly, but anyhow. So we're hoping that we're starting a more bullish leg overall with XRP soon. but we'll have to see. I don't know. Personally, I think this is pretty. This is a pretty reasonable trigger price, really, because this, if this is gonna correct, I mean, gosh, reasonably at all, it should get down to this level. I don't know that I have any reason really um, to change it, but if I'll take a look at it, and if I decide otherwise, I'll, I guess, talk about it next time. Uh, all right, so we were doing that. B&B. I think was doing just fine. I don't think there was much to say about B&B. Yeah, B&B is chugging along. Our bot is doing great. It's right in the middle of its grid. Not really anything exciting to say about it, which is awesome for this, because if this coin does continue to just sort of move in a very predictable pattern, we may be able to trade this with one of our bots and trade it with a higher degree of leverage and be able to relatively safely provide liquidity to the market by grid trading it and consistently make arbitrage profit from it if it does prove to be pretty relatively stable, or at least relatively predictable in its price movements. So this has got great prospects for potentially being a coin that we could use for future bots, because this is a big cap coin that's pretty well established, and it's not going anywhere anytime soon. Not very likely to, anyway. All right, and then we had P80A and Ethereum. Okay. ADA, yes. We had our ADA bot that we, I believe we closed the one before this. Yeah. And we're trying to get this one to turn on. So I can't set a liquidation value on our chart here because it hasn't turned on yet, and it hasn't been assigned a liquidation value yet. Hopefully it'll be a pretty reasonable one. But my grid is from 75 cents going up to, how high did I set it on this one? $4 for ADA. Going up fairly high for this one. If it does that well, I'll be very happy. But we're trying to get it to start. It has had a movement to the upside recently, and I am expecting it to correct down a bit. And yeah, I think that setting a trigger price at this level that I've set it right here really is very reasonable. It's very likely that it'll hit it, I think. And I could be wrong. This could, we could bounce off it. It may not hit it, and it may take off, and the bot won't start, and it'll be a bummer. But it's also really quite likely that it will go down, trigger the bot, and then range down for a little while, and we may be sort of dancing with our liquidation level for a little bit. So this is a pretty high trigger price for this one. But I'm attempting to set these so that they will go off, so that the bots will start trading fairly soon. Because I don't want to just have them sitting there idle, not doing any of their grid arbitrage trading. Because that is, after all, what we're here to do. We're here to grid trade these really pretty much just large cap cryptocurrencies that are well established but still have quite a bit of volatility uh, to be traded. Okay. Does that cover all of our stuff? Oh wait, no. We were going to open an Ethereum bot. Yes, this is one that has a higher leverage level. Grid's going up to $5,200 with a bottom of $2,749 for this grid, and the projected liquidation is around $2,500 for Ethereum. Projected liquidation. We'll see what it actually is when the bot starts. We had hoped that we would catch this one and activate it right about here, but it never got down to its activation price, and so we sort of missed that opportunity, which is a bit of a bummer. But we've set a new target, a new activation price here, and hopefully we'll see a bit of a correction to the downside in Ethereum over the next couple of days, perhaps over the weekend, and we will see perhaps perhaps this bot get activated and do okay. We'll have to kind of see, though. We had a nice big bullish movement recently, and so it would sort of make sense for a correction to at least temporarily occur, but you never really know in a bull market, and you never know in the market in general. So for the time being, we're doing just fine. It's perfectly okay for this bot to not get activated and for us to still have the money, the margin that I'm using to start the bot. What we don't want to see is have this go down, activate the bot, and then continue down, and then have the bot get liquidated, because then you would lose the initial investment in the bot, and that would be a real shame. But this being a higher leverage bot that I'm going to have to, that's a little trickier to get started. I didn't put as much money into this as into some of the lower leverage, 5 times leverage bots. I kind of put just the amount that I needed to get the bot to work. There's sort of a minimum amount that you can put in, particularly with coins like Bitcoin and Ethereum that have fairly high prices per coin. You just have to kind of have a little more money to put into the bot to get it started in order to actually cover all of the grid positions. Well, anyway, so that's where we're at with these guys. I'm expecting a move to the downside from Ethereum, but we'll kind of have to see. I've not really looked much at like these oscillators. Yeah, say like it should have. We would have thought we would see one right here. Didn't really happen. We got another small one. So like, it's the oscillator is telling us, oh, time for a correction. Time for a correction. That hasn't happened yet, which is a sign of strength for the long position that we are, after all, trying to get into. But we do. I would think that we are sort of due for a move to the downside, just a little bit of a correction here, to consolidate before going up. Yeah, so this would be a time for this to correct downwards just a little bit. Right. Okay, well, this is TradeGame channel. I'm Daniel. God be with you. Please be good to one another, and I will talk to you later.